Hello dear readers and subscribers. Happy New Year, happy 2025 and welcome to the first video of the new year. And what better way to start the new year with 5 artists to watch in 2025. We open the debate with Dabin Ahn. Born in 1988 in Seoul, Korea, residing and working in Chicago, Ahn is a contemporary painter and sculptor best known for his figurative, minimal and quiet paintings, featuring candles, porcelain, fireflies, butterflies, and flora. Soft gradients, absent brushwork, and meticulously rendered visual language create a calmness, drawing you into the picture. When we see Ahn's works, time seems to stop as we look at the flames and the fleeting but warm light emanating onto the objects in the picture plane, frozen in time. Dabin Ahn renders traditional Korean vessels to conjure liminal space. The precision and degree of finishing close in on perfection, illustrating the artist's patience and care when crafting these small, subtle objects with almost hypnotizing appeal. Poetic, meditative, melancholic, and elusive. In the recent past, the artist also worked in sculpture, but has been focusing more on his painterly practice in the past 2 to 3 years. However, the dialogue between painting and sculpture continues, as Ahn has found a new synthesis and symbiosis in his recent works. His latest paintings are not merely about a two-dimensional image. Even though the painterly surface is as smooth as it gets, the sides of the canvas are an integral part of the artwork, painting, for instance, candles on the edges that emanate light into the picture plane. Or what about his walnut artist frames, cast resin, and painted terracotta fragments mounted in an opened canvas or resting on top of it. The painting-sculpture dialogue also manifests itself in the art historical tradition of the Paragone debate and the almost competitive comparison of both media. For instance, painting emulates the sculptural through the illusion of a third dimension, or replicating the aesthetic attributes of a physical surface, such as porcelain. The depth and refined nature of his objects are described accurately by the artist's solo exhibition title at Harper's Chelsea in New York. Good things take time. His subject's fleeting and mystical nature and the almost meditative care for the physical object, as if being a relic, make the works exude quality. Quality that has not gone unnoticed. The interest in Dabin Ahn has increased exponentially with solo and group shows in New York and LA. As a result, it seems like it is only a matter of time before Dabin Ahn's work is exhibited in the top tiers of the art world. And to conclude with the words of the artist once more, good things take time. Oliver Bach, born in 1992 in Copenhagen, Denmark, where the artist continues to work and reside, had a breakthrough moment by the end of last year. The presentation of his solo exhibition, Ghost Driver or The Crowned Anarchist, announced the representation of the Danish artist by the industry-leading Spruitmakers in Berlin. Mystical scenes inspired by historical narratives and the artist's engagement with material processes result in fascinating painterly topographies. Combining oil and wax on canvas, but also creating clay sculptures and subtle pencil drawings, Bach unites spirits of the past and present. Thick coats of paint mixed with wax are worked and reworked via subtraction and addition, achieving a flickering luminosity and interplay of opacity. By conflating different fragments of reality, the artist creates atmospheric scenes between fiction and reality, the tangible and the subconscious, mythology and life. Levitating bodies and floral elements discuss both mortality and notions of rebirth. Between beauty and the disconcerting, his work deals with the dualities of life and the inescapable rhythm of death and renewal. One dwells into existential realms when getting lost in Bach's pictures, where flourishing meets decay, and the unsolvable conflict of our existence is materialized into heavy physical matter. Form affects feeling. The objectivity of the real is taken over by the subjectivity of the subconscious, and contemplation about the cycle of life arises. After exquisite solo presentations at Cassius & Co in London and ADZ Gallery in Lisbon, Bach has quietly but convincingly entered the top tier of the international art scene in his early 30s, followed by his first significant institutional group exhibition at the Staatliche Museen zu Berlin. The buzz of his Spruitmager's representation and exhibition made him the #1 new artist with the most inquiries of 2024 on Artsy. As a result, the Danish artist is arguably one of the most interesting artists to follow, and perhaps also to collect, as the door has been opened for global success. Up next, we have the Brazilian-American artist Juliana Cerqueira Leite. Born in 1981 in Chicago, residing and working between New York and Sao Paulo, Cerqueira Leite explores the abilities and constraints of the human body through tactile sculptures, often large in scale, delicate works on paper, photo collages, and paintings. Her primary tool is her own body, from using casts of her legs, fingers, arms or torso, to digging, combing, scratching, climbing, falling and pushing her materials with great physical intent and repetition. Beyond the human figure, the organic is another important visual attribute of her oeuvre. By transmuting both the body movements and the organic, Cerqueira Leite creates forms between the figurative and the abstract. The artist states, "Creating new forms is a mission for me, a way of not reasserting the world as it is, but of positing a transformation. Transformation is a key word, with some full-body sculptures evoking glimpses of a mythological metamorphosis." Juliana Cerqueira Leite physically visualizes will and desire. By amplifying the density of materials, the Brazilian artist aims to upset the status quo, placing herself in a position where the matter is in as much control as the sculptor. The work of Juliana Cerqueira Leite was a personal discovery for me in 2024. Last year, she also participated in a group exhibition at the KW Institute for Contemporary Art in Berlin, a major institution providing further critical validation. The Brazilian-American artist is on the rise, decisively. Considering her impressive resume, the current on-trend nature of her work, and the recent coverage in Art Forum, Cerqueira Leite is one of the main artists on my radar this year. Now that we're over halfway of our list, I would like to thank Squarespace for their generous support in making it possible to continue to create these top lists and curated lists for our platform. When we did an independent survey for the best website builders for artists, Squarespace came out on top, so we reached out to them and created a complete free tutorial on how to set up your artist website following the industry-approved standards. So feel free to use the promo code to have 10% off on Squarespace and follow the tutorial to set up your artist website in 2025. A second Seoul-born artist on our list is Sang-woo Kim. Born in 1994, Kim moved to London at a very young age, where he was raised by his traditional Korean parents and continues to work and reside there. His background, personal experiences and identity are central to his work. The artist felt different throughout his youth, as if people looked and treated him as other. This essential and complex struggle of cultural duality is brought to attention throughout his practice. He deals with it using humor and irony, aiming to surprise and disrupt the viewer's behavior to truly see. As a result, we encounter a deep focus on the eyes and the gaze throughout his painterly practice. Another important autobiographical aspect is Kim's background as a fashion model and therefore being used to be gazed upon. As a result, self-portraiture was a logical next step in his artistic development, which would be a catalyst and a turning point for his career. Painting with oils, acrylics and a hybrid technique using pigment transfers to create unique paintings out of photography, Sang-woo Kim's work is lauded for its delicate surface, unique arrangements and intriguing close-ups of eyes, skin, faces and more abstract fragments. From iconic film stills to self-portraiture, the artist revisits the cultural lens. He reclaims agency over his racialization as a Korean man in the United Kingdom. We gaze at the artist, the painting, but the artist returns that gaze and makes us reflect our own. The aesthetics and unique arrangements of his multi-canvas works form narrow image sequences, both vertically and horizontally, creating an enigmatic atmosphere marked by fear, desire, and otherness. As a result, the artist is not only going viral on Instagram, but had a well-deserved breakthrough year with solo exhibitions at Sébastien Bertrand in Geneva and Harold Street in London, and group exhibitions at Union Pacific in London and the mega gallery Hauser and Wirth in Somerset. Even more, his work has entered collections of renowned institutions, such as the Manco Museum in Geneva and the X Museum in Beijing, all in the past 12 months. As a result, I cannot wait to see what Sang-Woo Kim has in store for us in the next 12 months. We conclude with the Benjamin of our list. Coumba Samba was born in 2000 in Harlem, New York, grew up in Dakar, Senegal, and has lived and worked between New York and London. Samba is an interdisciplinary artist who works with sculpture, installation, photography and performance. One could argue Samba is a cultural phenomenon, considering she is also part of the two-person experimental pop band New York alongside Gretchen Lawrence. In her artistic practice, the artist incorporates biographical and nostalgic narratives with current affairs and coincidental encounters, thinking and moving between the individual and intimate, up to the collective and political. Working across various media, her oeuvre is stylistically heterogeneous, although several elements and archetypes function as the backbone of her creative thinking. One of those aspects is using ready-made sculptures and integrating found objects in her installations and wall objects, from a turtle tank to a pile of construction sand. Another element is the use of fresh, vivid colors to manipulate these objects, to transform them into aesthetically pleasing contemporary artworks, but also to imbue them with meaning, personal connections, or political allegories. For instance, in Stripe Blinds of 2023, Samba paints each horizontal slat of broken wooden window blinds, using a set of studio photographs of her older sister when she was modeling and before she dedicated herself to religion and her family, using it as a color guide to create a sentimental and direct artifact of her sister's personal transition. In Radiator of 2024 in her Red Gas series, Samba uses the radiator as a clever reference to the West's dependency on Russian gas in times of war. The colors are once more not by chance or out of mere aesthetic interest. They all have their own reference and agenda, playing with color in the function of the found object as a minimal artwork while simultaneously reflecting on the politicization of colors. As a result, even though her career has just started, with 5 solo exhibitions across 3 continents in 2024, Coumba Samba has already captured the attention of some prominent figures in the art world, including ours, making her one of the artists to watch in 2025. Which artists do you have on your radar, and which artists from this list do you like the most? Feel free to let us know. I would like to end this video with my warmest wishes to everyone. Happy 2025. May your dreams come true, and hopefully artistic growth and fulfillment will be one of them. Thank you so much for tuning in today. Feel free to watch last week's video with 8 goals for artists in 2025 next. Support us on Patreon and please consider subscribing to stay posted for more contemporary art. Bye.